Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Jared. This is Justice's Waiting Room, a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. YouTube called me out this morning. I went to go to YouTube to log into the chat, and it's like, "Where you at? You had a podcast scheduled for 8 a.m. Where you at?" It's funny. Sorry, I was talking to my wife. Let's start off with this heater. Are you ready for this? I see him all alone. That's okay. It's the best part of waking up. Uh, we don't we don't take orders from posts on second-rate social media websites. So if you ask me, "Hey Jared, since you are on active duty, how do you feel about the president ordering the troops into Portland, Oregon, saying it's a war zone?" And my official response is that we don't take orders from anyone off some second rate fucking website. I don't care if it's the president. Those orders are going to have to be formalized. Okay? Want a gab? Want a deb? So for everyone wondering, like, how do you feel about the president of the United States, like, writing that dipshit ass social media post? Uh, well, he's not allowed on the rest of the fucking internet. I don't have True Social. I Honestly, the worst thing I've ever had to do is ask somebody else to get on that website and tell me what that motherfucker's saying. That's how off Donald Trump I've been. Like, I am only watching clips of him. I'm never tuning in, and that's part of the reason the show exists. So hey, Deb and Gabby, I just want to like throw that out there because people will ask, like, how do you feel about the president ordering the troops to fire on people in Portland, Oregon? So that will never happen in a million fucking years, and it has more to do with how nonsensical that post was. It doesn't say who, what branch of service are you sending, what is their mission? How long are they going to be there? How are you going to feed them and house them? No quarter, right? So I think it's worth starting off the show by saying I want to calm everyone down. In that, much like the parade that he demanded, where the army could not have shown less respect. They weren't even in step. They weren't covered and aligned. They weren't full attention forward or full attention left. They didn't do movement. The powers that be showed the president that you have no power here, boy. That's not how this works. And so far, he's accomplished, checks notes, bombing Iran's empty nuclear weapon development, and so they could just build new ones. Okay, and then he's killed some fucking fishermen on the coasts of Argentina. Okay, what we don't talk about, yeah, right. I heard other people say which Portland, right? Because there's a Portland in Maine, there's a Portland in Oregon, right? There's probably a Portland in like half the states in the United States. The troops is too broad. There's no time frame. There's no evidence largely. And remember that what I feel that we can point to is every day is an escalation upon the prior. And I feel that that is kind of an empty threat. And that when pressed, how many troops, which branch, what are they looking for, what is the mission, how long will they be there, how are you going to feed them, how are you going to house them, when he can't just answer those questions and is not prepared for this, Well, I mean that's kind of par for the course. Just so I mean that's Donald Trump for you. A lot of talk, not a lot of action. I mean, hey, good morning, y'all, from Portland, Oregon. I'm sure there's nothing there. I saw a video of someone in a park like 4 blocks from ICE, and it's dead quiet. And he's like, you can't smell tear gas or anything. There aren't even homeless people. And he's like walking his dog, and his dog's just lazily ambling around. And he's like, oh my God, there's someone running. No, literally, they're running for exercise. Like, it's a war zone. It's like a peaceful downtown. For the record, the craziest thing I'll ever tell you about all these war ravaged cities in the United States is that all these people have manicured lawns, and the city's the nicest place to be. Like, go downtown Indianapolis into that slum. Bullshit. Downtown Indianapolis is fucking crisp, right? So are most cities. Chicago, Illinois has a lot of straight lines, a lot of 90-degree angles, whereas like a Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania has a lot of arches in the doors. New York City has a lot of old buildings right next to like a brand new building. It's a lot of old and new. There's a lot of change and growth. And as someone who's traveled quite a bit, especially domestically, uh, I know it sounds weird to start your show by saying like, "Hey, the president's orders on social media are kind of dumb," and also I can't think of like Memphis is kind of rough, but even Memphis down by the river was nice. You know what I mean? It was vibrant. There was a nightlife. Yeah, obviously, I'm sure there's bodies lined in that river, but the hard reality is like people say, "Oh, Detroit, Michigan," or my wife and her sister, they did go to Cleveland a while back, and they weren't terribly impressed. But as you can imagine, um, I was just thinking about that. But yeah, so you know, my country, 'tis of thee, right? I'm trying to think of like a shithole. It's those shitholes are mostly the one or zero stoplight towns that are run the fuck down because nobody wants to live here except for the KKK. So you know what I mean? Yeah. Um, have no fear. They're not going to deploy the U.S. military stateside. I don't think. I think we're done doing that. Because remember this: the first, when we're talking about L.A., the troops were gone before they could get paid for that. And think about taking care of other people and it being your job to take care of other people, and having the army deployed to Washington D.C. and then trying to run that playback where you don't pay people. Um, what else? So we start off with, hey, don't worry about the crazy person on the internet saying that he's going to invade Portland, Oregon. And he didn't even fucking say that. He just said Portland, thanks to someone else pointing this out. And troops is too broad. And full force is even too broad. What the fuck does that even mean? So that's kind of nonsense from the king of nonsense. Actually, it's par for the course. That was a Friday. Uh, yeah, and I think what we're gonna see here, Al. Great question. My piece de resistance this morning is about the war zone that is Portland, and on emails or on meetings that should have just been emails. Okay, so that's the title of my piece today that I made. Here, let me show you what I made this morning. You'll be like, oh, we're speaking the same language. You're like, yeah, I made it before I went live. So here, while I hunt for that, listen to War. So every morning to start this Justice's Waiting Room, I gotta say the show name more often. Okay. Uh, Al, there's not orders. That's not orders. Donald Trump writing that on Truth Social does not equal orders. So nothing is happening. Nobody nobody went and sat down and started planning the invasion of Portland. Nobody did that. Probably some extremists somewhere out in Utah. Hmm. Okay, so on the same tip that I'm like, hey, what Donald Trump posted on True Social is bullshit. Um, so is dragging all 800 generals into Quantico for a sit down for about grooming standards and warrior ethos and shit. As someone who was on active duty, I'm not just like some dumb grunt either. I was like part of the decision making process within my unit. So like that costs too much, and you're taking your most senior leader off every military installation in the world and dragging them all to Quantico at the same time. That's woefully unsecure. First of all, it's not safe to do that. It's costly. Think about the flights and the time, that it would take to plan and coordinate the movement of all these generals. And 800 generals means all their staff. It's like they don't travel solo, and there's only gonna be 800 people in this auditorium. Like that's not how that works at all. Like I'll put it like this, and I'm being kind. I'm like not indulging, not saying more and not saying less, right? That general that he's talking about, that base general, he has like a staff of people that work for him that are kind of the front part of the business. You get what I'm saying? Like, here's the way I was taught about this. If y- if you and I are in the same unit, right? And I'm in charge, the only time you'll ever see me is right before we go do some shit. Otherwise, I got shit to do. The only time you're ever going to see me is when I'm about to use you, right? When I, especially like in the military, hey, we're going to go here, do this. Keep your head on a fucking straight. I don't want to hear I don't want to hear nothing, right? Keep your mouth shut. Keep your eyes locked forward. Learn, 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 learn. You know what I mean? Listen, 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 listen. Take notes, take notes, take notes. Don't fuck around. Let's get in, get out. It is what it is. Oorah, all that happy shit. That's what leadership looks like. Like, hey, we got something to do. I'm only even fucking. We're only even face to face because shit's about to hit the fucking fan, fam. Right? That's what leadership is. Otherwise, I'm the fuck out of your nose. I don't want to fucking know you unless you have a problem. And then I want to fucking help you fix your problem and push you back out there and let you go fucking be you, right? But so to call all 800 of your most senior leaders, it's not calling 800 people. It's calling a whole staff of people that work for that general. So you're talking about like, yeah, yeah, and there's we have to talk about the similarities and the sort of show that is this Charlie Kirk shit. This shit is a bloody show. It is terrible. Uh, Beyond a shadow of a doubt, the assassination of Charlie Kirk was planned, coordinated through Donald Trump. He listen to me. It was one thing that Erica Kirk was Miss USA in Arizona when Donald Trump owned the Miss USA. It's fucking one thing. Okay? It's one thing for him to have owned that pageant circuit when she was on it. It's another for her to have established a she established a orphanage in Romania called Romanian Angels over a decade ago. The thing that it's important to understand is she's older than she looks. She married a younger Charlie Kirk. Okay, there's people are going to want to talk about nonsense about the movie connections. This ain't L.A. Noir. You can have all that movie shit. I'm talking about what actually happened. Okay, what actually happened is Donald Trump and her have been connected for since before he was going to run for office the first time. They have a he Erica Kirk is probably one of Donald Trump's closer friends. Okay, Erica Kirk only married Charlie Kirk after Charlie Kirk got funded by TPUSA or to build TPUSA. He actually there was a great video that was put out that was like this was a hit upon Charlie Kirk that was placed like Erica Kirk was placed into his life after Turning Point USA got its funding because then he had money. He capitulated. He was already good. He was a made man. She had fucking two kids with him. He was already made. In my eyes, he was living on borrowed time. He knew he was a dead man walking. That's why he was saying all that shit that he was saying. Is because he knew he was going to die. It the fuck is what it is, son. Tyler Robinson didn't do that shit. George Zinn didn't do that shit either. Somebody shot him surgically, like Israel. And I'm telling you, the orders came from like Putin, Bibi, through Donald Trump, and that this has been a long time fucking coming. And in the same fucking breath, let me stomp on his fucking headstone and say, and that Nazi is dead, and I don't give no fucks. Like, let's just be like real about some shit. Like, I ain't losing no fucking sleep. Notice one of the things that oh, for fucking sure that shit was planned. And quarter, yes. Think about there. You gotta watch it. Al, there's a video where there's this movie, Nicolas Cage. You can go fucking run that. Go look at all the pop culture connection to this killing. You can go fucking do that. We live in the future where like a man dies and within 2 weeks the public's figured it all out. Like, we can just tell you just what happened. Yeah. Remember when Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin met in Alaska and they rode in that car and Carolyn Levitt got out of the car and she was ghost ass white like she'd seen a ghost? Remember we talked about this. We talked about this. I think the plan was Tyler Robinson was supposed to be the shooter and he chickened the fuck out. And I think they yeah, yeah, they think we're stupid, fam. We have modern graphics in video games, man. You want to see what happens when you shoot someone? The bullet goes in or the blood goes in the direction of the bullet on a through and through. And again, I'm one of the rare humans that you'll ever talk to that's like, I've never seen someone get through and through in public until Charlie Kirk. He got fucking through and through. The bullet came out of his fucking neck. Yeah. And was not recovered because it was probably a 22 and it probably hit bone and deflected. hmm There's a pretty good video of the rooftop over Charlie Kirk's head that I would encourage anyone to look at. hmm He wasn't even shot at by, I don't think, like by a person. He was shot at by a machine. on the roof of the building over his head. Yeah, it's not the bush one floor over his head. There are people too near. That's why all the hand signals from his own people. Yeah, yeah. I think that here's what I really think happened. Honest to God, them groypers are dumb enough to plan Charlie Kirk's murder using like Discord, WhatsApp, any of these hackable communication systems. And remember that Microsoft helped Israel conduct mass surveillance. So Israel has the gas on everybody, right? So Israel is not paying Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk starts to question Israel's role in Gaza. Charlie Kirk pretty much went from pro-Israel, pro-genocide, fuck all these brown people, to uh, Israel's committing a genocide, and that sort of flip without payment uh, is why he died. Is why he died, 100%. Because I think up to that point, there were just people that are psychopaths that actually dream about doing shit like that. That Tyler Robinson hated Charlie Kirk to his face, and that hatred just built up into him until he went on the internet and started talking about fucking killing him. And I think right up until that point, doing it, he chickened the fuck out, bailed, and his plans got intercepted by multiple people. There are bad actors all over the place that are looking for people that are talking about like I'm gonna unalive someone. You know what I mean? Like there are cops and the feds and there's fucking militias. There are four major ass militias in the United States that are tapped the fuck in. There are gangs, there's biker gangs. Like, it's not as prevalent as you think. It's mostly in the northwest part of the country. So the part of the reason to choose Portland is a dog whistle to all the super violent white supremacists that live in the northwest part of the country. So what I'm not fucking worried about, read my lips, what I'm not worried about is the U.S. military killing Americans. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about provocateurs, people who see themselves as the violent visionary. Remember, I've tried to tell you, as someone who plays video games, someone who reads books, someone who's gone to college for like 30 fucking years. Hey man, uh, the violent, the violent things die. They don't make it. There's attrition. Violent movements fail because there's attrition. You can't just fucking replace people. And I hate to say this, but I take great fucking joy in saying you can't replace Donald Trump. He's one of one. Don't hold your fucking breath, though. He has the best healthcare in the world. But his natural fucking death is our release from this prison. And then we just get to flesh it out forever. And again, nobody came to me and confirmed. I just if any of you read Kamala Harris's book, apparently late in that book she said Israel has a right to protect itself. And again, I want to point out that Kamala Harris is a big recipient of money from AIPAC, okay? And that the Israel of today is not the Israel of the Bible. The Israel of today was founded in just 1948, not even 100 years ago, by David Ben Gurion, who's still alive, by the way. The whole goal of Israel is to mimic what the United States was doing to get where it is. And that is its imperialist and expansionist shit. Uh, Important to point out The Americans ravaged the Indian population when we settled and burnt their villages down. They dropped bombs on Philadelphia. It's not as though this is foreign to the United States. The United States has attempted to genocide black people all over our history. Tulsa, I mean, stop me when I'm fucking wrong. Tulsa, Philly, you name it. You know what I fucking can't stand? Driving past a plantation in the South. I'm like, how is that shit not burnt down? Why is that fucking shit all nice and shit? The fuck are we doing? Turn that shit into a parking lot. I'm just. They talk about the tolerant left. I don't feel very tolerant. Hey, what's up, Bob? And this is just from someone who has a grasp on what the manifestation of hate feels like. The Polish at a very high clip, like 91%. Erica Kirk said the first time she saw Charlie Kirk was when she was in Israel. We got someone in the Twitch chat this morning. I like to talk a lot. 8. Good morning. Only 67%. 2 out of every 3 people in Poland support the shooting down of Russian jets. Speaking of Russia, Russia is attempting to interfere in the Moldovan election. We've been talking about this. I can't fucking stand it. Yeah, I can't stand it. Never. You know what I've never done? In, in my endless plead, stop being fucking racist, you idiots. It's so beneath us. We're all related. If you go back far enough, we're all cousins. The 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 more traits you share, the closer you're related. So, yeah. So you see how Poland, 2/3 of people in Poland think that they should shoot down Russian planes and drones and shit. In Russia, 2/3 of Russians think all Americans should die. Right? That sort of like anti-American shit is part of the problem. Now, one of the things that you got to keep in mind, okay? This was posted right after midnight last night, okay? Right after midnight last night. Hamas says, "Hey, we haven't had any new negotiations since the attempted assassination of their leaders in Qatar." So, not necessarily believing a fucking terrorist organization, but Russia launches massive attack on Kiev. God damn. As Poland scrambles jets and closes airspace. And again, I want to kind of close the loop. So my thought on, because people keep asking like, oh, you're on active duty. Do you think like Hegseth could really force all those generals to come to Quantico? No, no. He's not like in charge of them. You get what I'm saying? Like he can't say jump and them go how high. Yeah, so that's not gonna happen. Never host a meeting when it could have just been an email. That could have been an hour long like video that you made. You know what I mean? On the flotilla. I've just watched countries send warships, which means it's a fucking war crime to attack the flotilla. I always wake up and I'm like, I'm sure they're fine, right? Hey, this is cool. In not so fucking depressing ass news. The world's highest bridge to open traffic in China's mountainous southwest. 625 meters above a river. That's like 1,000 feet, y'all. How many feet in 625 meters? 2,000 feet. Holy shit. 2,000 feet above. Same height as the Shanghai Tower. I want to continue to point out as much shit as gets talked about China, right? And remember the reason that when you ask someone, whenever I've asked someone, why do you hate China? They'll say, because they're commies and socialists. What? Wages in China have quadrupled since 1980. Minimum wage stayed the same in the United States since then. Who got fucked? They've got the world's highest bridge is open to travelers, meaning like you could just drive across it in China. They have no interest in a space race. They're busting our ass. They're just they are fucking uh the reason Russia's even got a leg in this fight that they took up. So I want to continue to point out what a punk ass bitch Russia is in this war with Ukraine. They decided to go to war with their neighbor. They illegally invaded them and they're getting their ass beat. So who do I not want to be like? I don't want to be like Russia who fucking just decides one day and it's about disorder and chaos. And so keep this in mind as shit comes down the pipe and your brain is like why chaos and disorder are the name of the game. That's how Russia spies work. uh, Shit doesn't make sense, right? In my eyeballs, the killing of Charlie Kirk is so Russian and Israeli, like it so points to those two factions that the why is answered by chaos. Because what happened in the wake of Charlie Kirk dying? First of all, the media immediately blamed it on the left. What did any available information tell you? He was raised by Republicans in a Republican state. He was he went to a Republican school. Like they're actively working on pollution in China. Hey, you can decry all that commie shit all you want. I try to tell people all the time, socialism is the parent, communism is one of the babies. It's not even the main thing. The main thing is socialism. Communism is an arm of socialism. And the problem that I have as a socialist, as someone that is a syndicalist socialist, that means I am a pro union socialist. That means that I can close the loop. That means that I can say, "Oh, when I say seize the means of production, and you say, how do you make that happen in a market economy that we live in?" Oh, you champion unions, and you try to get as many people as you can to join unions, and leaders rise naturally within unions. Uh huh. And that's how you hold corporations accountable. Mhm. What solution do you have that is not that? Oh, a violent uprising that is atrocious and causes many, many millions of people to die. For what? What is the purpose of dying in the fight for universal health care? Think really hard. What is what, and again, people would be like, Jared, but what about Luigi Mangione? Oh, do you think that's shit is sustainable? Do you think you just kill 3,000 billionaires and it solves all our problems? Do you think that's how wealth inequality is solved? Boy, boy, do I have some fucking news for you. Flotilla said next stop Gaza as of 4 hours ago. Let's just hope a bunch of people that haven't had a consistent source of food and water are able to have a consistent source of food and water until they run out of shit. You know what I'm saying? It's only a matter of time before Bibi and Putin are in the Epstein files too. It's only a matter of time. Think about who was ID'd as being in the Epstein files. Bill Gates, right? This information comes out and you're like, "Wow, there's not many people left to identify." Putin, Bibi, Trump. Mhm. Willing to bet it. Willing to bet it. Volodymyr Zelensky says the US and Ukraine are planning a major arms deal. I feel like we're hitting a crescendo. Airstrikes and shooting killed 91 people in Gaza. Jesus Christ, man. Just killing all the poor people while they can. External Affairs Minister Subramanyam Jaish- Jaishankar accused. Hey, I did pretty good there. Accused wealthy nations of hypocrisy in global trade and selective response to crises. He warned that tariff volatility, technology restrictions, and coercive supply chain practices were undermining trust in the international system, while urging the global south to resist protectionist pressures. Big words. Yeah, getting rid of all the immigrants in the left won't work, right? That's an abject failure. Look at this administration. Look what they did. They targeted trans people, immigrants. They want a war on the left, right? About that. It's atrocious. It costs people. It's only a matter of time before ICE agents start getting gunned down. And when that starts to happen and the grip tightens, just know there's way more of us than there are of them. And it ends quickly. You back them into a corner and just say, lay your guns down, it's over. You're not fighting your way out of this one. It's coming. That end's coming. They'll stand down. They'll stand down ice eventually. They're gonna run out of money. Yeah. See, Israel, modern Israel, their voter bloc is a lot more progressive. Yeah, it's because all their parents are the pedophiles. See, we have the internet, and the internet is forever. And one of the things that I've learned in my time is that you cannot hide on the internet. You might as well be a good person because everything you do is public record. Hmm. Yeah. Well, you should never, I've tried to tell people my whole life, you might want to put that down and pick up a plowshare. You're going to need that. You know what I mean? You're gonna wish you knew how to till dirt and turn over earth. You need to learn to do that. You know. By the way, we took our first step. My wife and I bought 100-gallon water gathering container that has the valve at the bottom, so that I can irrigate my crop. I'm taking the actual steps. The good news is it's only like $50. Don't buy the black one. Buy the more neutral colored one. There's a military green one. Hmm. Yeah, they're trying so hard to control the internet. Yeah, look at BB saying the most important purchase in the war of information has been TikTok, and they got their eyeballs on TikTok. Larry Ellison, Donald Trump's money is tied up in Larry Ellison's purchase of TikTok. Donald Trump is seeking to profit. There's a reason he declared it for fucking sale and shit. He did. That shows you that executive orders are absolutely fucking dumb. Because what makes you think you can declare a company for sale? The fuck? That's how you know his executive orders mean absolute garbage. Because here's what's fucking crazy. People are freaking the fuck out about a post on True Social, right? Are like, well, he signed an executive order selling TikTok. That makes sense. We should totally do that. We need American rules and laws and charge. We don't have enough freedom of speech. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequences. The First Amendment guarantees that the government, your government, your U.S. government, will not abridge your free speech. Donald Trump, I would argue, Donald Trump having Charlie Kirk murdered abridged his free speech. Hmm? Yeah, stop calling them orders. They're only directives, since only the legislature can make law. Right? It's a memo. It's like somebody says, "Good morning. I had a bagel with lox and schmear. I went on a run. Hope you all have a great day." Signed, POTUS. That is a memo. Same effect, just different words used. Hmm. So keep that in mind. When he sits at his desk and he signs something, he's not signing a bill into law. That's not what he's doing. Hmm? So good morning, Bob, Al, Mike. Where's Zeke? Somebody find Zeke. The art of the deal. The U.S. and South Korea agree to a deal. Blah, 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 blah. Angie said, I'm torn about leaving TikTok. Some people say to leave because, obviously, other creators have said they want to fight the takeover it being a right wing hot pile of trash. It was a hot pile of trash since it stopped working overnight and the algorithm completely changed. Um, yeah, yeah. So the good news is that Skylight is the TikTok replacement until Neptune comes along, and we'll see what they're able to hammer out. But yeah, I've kept up with the development cycle of Skylight, and speaking of free speech, love Jimmy Kimmel, absolutely. Um, I wish he was, you know, funnier, but I wish that for a lot of people. Um, yeah, where the fuck is Zeke? Somebody, somebody hit up Zeke. Like, well, what the fuck? Where are you at, huh? Anyway, police disperse Morocco youth voice protests in Rabat and Casablanca. Organizers have already made it clear the intention of the protest was to be non-violent, and the police were violent. So now we protest. Violence is not the answer because it's atrocious. You're not bulletproof. You're paper mache. Hey. Caspian pipeline attack after Zelensky Tokayev meeting puts Kazakhstan in a delicate position. Yeah, I got on to TikTok because of that Klan rally at Madison Square Garden. And then I stopped creating content for TikTok that when Zuckerberg flew into Mar-a-Lago, and then TikTok didn't work for a minute, and then I stopped making content. And then I was, hey, this shit's trash. And it's only gotten worse. I mean, think about this. I went from a new account in October to 16,600 followers uh before that hard reset of the algorithm. I don't have 17,000 followers. So since that little hard reset, I've gained less than 400 followers. I'm still under 17,000 followers on that app. Now, if you think about the rule of exponential growth, where were we headed? Why aren't we? Yeah, I hope Skylight works. Yeah. See, look, French unions keep heat on government with fresh strike calls. See? They want to keep your wages low so that you can't save, so you live paycheck to paycheck, so you cannot afford to exercise your right to peaceably assemble and protest and strike and boycott. Keep in mind, the president of the United States, this regime, is being pressured by Russia and Israel to violate our rights, our First Amendment specifically, your right to free speech, the ability to assemble, protest. Mhm. They want to they want to not allow boycotts of companies whose goods are produced in Israel. Can't do that. The will of the people shall the will of the what is it? The will of the people shall be made or whatever. Hmm. Oh yeah. And the thing about it is, what I learned was don't bitch about the numbers. The last thing you'll see me do, like I just told you for the first time. I know I saw it. I never said anything about it. Never made content about it. You never hear me say like my shit, follow my shit, share my shit, comment, blah blah blah. Blah. I'm not begging for interaction. I'm not here for that. That's not why. It's the content I post. It's the speak truth to power, hold people accountable, tell people what's actually happening. Look here, the French have a syndicalist socialist party. They hold business in check. They force high wages and shit so that when people need to strike, you got money in the bank. That's why companies want your wages low. They want to. Let me think about this. Every job I've ever had, ever, they ask you to do more for the same pay, and they just try to see how much they can get away with, all while stripping you of all your support over time until eventually you're by yourself doing the work of several people. Tell me I'm wrong, and your wages didn't go up. Yeah. And keep in mind they can't force you to buy goods from someone. So you can decide what to do with your money. What we've decided is we're not eating at McDonald's. We're not shopping at Walmart, right? We're not giving our money to the people that make this possible. We're divesting from Nextstar. Amsterdam. Drone scare halts flights in Amsterdam. Right now we're hitting close to home, right? People are more familiar with Amsterdam. Oh, King Charles persuaded Donald Trump to U-turn on Ukraine, says Volodymyr Zelensky's top aide. So if you ever wondered what made Donald Trump flip on Ukraine, King Charles did that. Interesting. Palestine says it applied to join BRICS. The Palestinian ambassador to Russia believes that Palestine would participate as a guest until it can obtain full membership. Remember BRICS: Britain, Russia, China, India, China, right? And South Korea? Is that what that is? BRICS. And here's an example of why climate change is bad. Okay, so we don't talk about it often enough, but here's a really in your face fucking example of why, why is climate change bad, Jared? Why are all these hurricanes and tornadoes and earthquakes and shit? Why is all this shit real bad? Because 6 months after a fucking massive earthquake in Myanmar, the reconstruction's real fucking slow. Normally, when that catastrophic event happens, that place becomes unlivable, and it doesn't come back. Normally, when they like destroy your house and shit, you just don't rebuild that. You build back better, right? Or whatever. Or you fucking leave and go live somewhere else because holy shit, my whole life just got devastated. So they had a 7.7, holy shit, in the middle of Myanmar. And 6 months later, the country's kind of struggling to rebuild. Now, imagine it's Western North Carolina. Do you see why climate change is bad? Why we should take care of the climate? Because if we don't, and climate change gets real bad, for example, there's a correlation between the warming of the oceans and the severity of hurricanes. There's correlation between things like air pollution and the lack of rain, causing drought. Ask anyone that lives in the western part of the country, and they'll tell you like pollution's bad. Okay, makes the air unbreathable and it makes it not fucking rain. What? Mike said it took my parents 3 years to get their home rebuilt and move back in Port Charlotte. And imagine how much money it cost. Like I said, when the weather knocks your house down, you just don't put it back up. That's not how it works. Palestinian death toll passes 64,000. I'm guessing that's since October 7th. Last I heard, we were over 500,000 children killed. The IDF are killing kids. Fears of disaster as Russian nuclear submarine reports major malfunction in the Mediterranean. You can see when you have piss poor leadership, it's just like Obama said 80% of the world's problems are because old men refuse to die. And he was talking about people like Putin, Bibi, Trump. There's a guy in Saudi Arabia, it's like 80. Iran recalls ambassadors as snapback sanctions arrive. Russia lost a bid for a UN Aviation Authority Council seat. Moscow immediately wanted a repeat round of voting. This is funny. Sh- Russia fell short of the support needed to gain a seat on the International Civil Aviation Organization's 36 member council. Fuck Russia. I hope they lose it everything forever. And anyone that supports Donald Trump, I hope you lose it everything forever. And you're going to. But I also hope. Make sure you join a union. if you haven't already. I joined Work in America. Yeah, in the Med too. So it's not like that happened in Russia. That happened in the Med. That's many countries. Hmm. We are about 3 weeks out ish from the next major protest on October 18th. And you can go to 5050.1 to get more information on that. Protests are almost every day. Remember May Day, right? Every day, Washington, D.C. protesting. Good to go. 3 dead, 8 injured after shooter in a boat opened fire on North Carolina waterfront bar. Yep. Big ass earthquakes. Oh, shit. I mean, nature's gnarly like this. Took place before school, no student present. Okay. So keep this in mind. Apparently, she broke the law by doing that, and she won't be able to make that money. Okay. So check this out. A North Texas school teacher. Okay. Let me let me summarize this for you instead of read it to you. So she voluntarily removed the snakes from her classroom. They had discovered a box of kittens. They were all ill. They all died. The teacher fed one of the ailing kittens to the classroom snake. Before school, out of the sight of the kids. It's first of all, that's a natural death. The cat was dying. All of the cats died. A student took the other cats home. They all died. The story isn't the teacher did something wrong. It's not the story. Teacher didn't feed a cat to the class snake in front of the kids. It's a shitty game of telephone. That's where we are. It's a shitty game of telephone. You know what her mistake was? Telling the kids she fed a dying kitten to the classroom snake. Because nature is metal as fuck. The immigrants in a California detention facility are begging for help. I want to remind you that people are dying over a civil penalty. I want to continue to remind you that deportation is not a violent, it's not something to be met with violence. Typically, when people get deported, they get a letter in the mail They show up at a court date with their paperwork. A judge decides whether you get to stay or have to go, and then you get some time to leave, and the U.S. leave and pay for your flight home. You see how nice that is? That's deportation. That's legal deportation. What Donald Trump has been doing is been trying to cash in on his plan to deport the people that wouldn't vote for him, and or turn them into slave labor. And that idea came from the billionaires. So remember Curtis Yarvin, the blogger that sat in his mom's basement and basically drove JD Vance to write Project 2025 and make himself the boy king. hmm Yeah, but you know that's not going to happen. European farmers are facing drought. Hey, here's what I do, okay? I cheer when old men die. Russell M. Nelson, the oldest ever president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints, dies. Do you think the LDS will stop going door to door now? No? When old men die. Hey, look. For some reason, union membership is on the decline. In 2025, pilots, part of the aviation unions, got paid $1 million paydays and shit for being faithful union members and going to the negotiating table over their lives. These are individuals who received $1 million payouts for their ability to negotiate. Striking Boeing defense workers approved the union's proposed contract that the company rejected. So it looks like to me the union, the labor is willing to negotiate and agree to a contract, right? Seems like Boeing, the corp, is what's keeping this. Look at politics. Hey, wait. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. So, do you remember how in the last like 24 to 48 hours, all these content creators were out here like the Democrats handed the government a continuing resolution. It kneecaps them and their ability to negotiate. And then now what's going to happen? Now what's going to happen? Oh, the government's going to shut down. Oh, so the Republicans can do whatever the fuck they want, and it really didn't matter what the Democrats did. So what are you mad about? Hey, cat. Hey, cat. Taylor said, could have. My wife said the teacher feeding the kitten to the snake was probably irresponsible because what if something was actually wrong with the kitten? Could have gotten the snake sick. But I mean, ooze snakes. So I think it's. I get what you're saying. Like, she's irresponsible as fuck for telling the kids she did it. If she just hadn't said, yo, I fed a fucking cat to the snake and freaked the kids out and they can go tell their parents, none of this shit happens. She's not taking the snake out of the classroom, apologizing to the public, getting an article written about her and shit. None of that shit happens if she just shuts the fuck up. But what happened? These cats were dying and she decided to stick one in the oven. Hey, this is how, and by oven I mean into a snake's cage. Yeah. Mike said either way it needs to be shut down and then we need a general strike. So understand that the Republicans can shut the government down and they don't need Democrats to like help. So when the government shuts down, it's entirely on the Republicans. Hmm. And again, House Republicans are rewriting the history on January 6th. Wow. They're trying to recast the narrative. But I get what you're saying about what if there's something wrong with the cat. Now you fed the cat a bum snake. I think a bum cat is just like one who's lame, right? Its legs don't work and shit. Fuck, I don't know. We're getting too far from the weeds now. I can't stop thinking about nature is metal as fuck. There can be peace. Hawaii Governor Josh Green. Hey, look, leadership. There can be peace if the right will have it. I want to continue to point out that Donald Trump did not deploy the troops to Portland, Oregon. He posted on Truth Social. Shut down the government, do more damage to the country. Yeah, yeah. So a lot of people are here's what I am. I am the founder of the American Socialist Party, and I did this shit knowing that our country's run by idiots and that they're gonna fuck it all up, and democracy ain't gonna hold, and it's gonna become like the Wild Wild West, and people are gonna wonder, where do we go from here? What do we do from here? And I say, no taxation without representation. Rent, interest, and taxes are off the table. Grow a garden, put up solar panels, learn to live without, and one day we'll return to fucking normalcy. I don't know what to tell you. Closures, payments, and more. Remember, entirely on the Republicans. There's nothing the Democrats can do to stop it. Remember that the ultimately the Democrats were so fucking lame by bringing a continuing resolution to the president to sign. Remember when everybody was giving Democrats shit for saying you could just renegotiate this shit, fund the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, you could fund Medicaid, you could do these things, and they said fucking no. Remember, they're accelerationists. They want the end of time. They think that the end is here. They're trying to kill all the poor people and take everything from them so they can fight the dragons with the power that they get from all the blood loss. I'm not making this shit up, but I'm also not on ketamine and cocaine, so it's just going to come out really raw and not nearly as like well described, which is how we got here. Is because like yeah, nope, idiots. And again, they're doing this to distract you from the Epstein files. And I still believe with every fiber of my being that they're going to walk that back. All those cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, and shit, they're going to walk all that shit back. Calls are going to get louder. Telling you. It's October 1st. It is day one Q4. I live in a capitalist society. It is day one Q4. I'm just saying. I think between now and the first week at Christmas is gonna be fucking bananas, and then it'll calm down for a couple weeks, and then like I said, that first week of fucking January, I hope you don't work at a pharmacy. If you do, I hope you understand your life is not worth that person's cost in medication that they can't pay. They shut down, they still didn't swear in Adelita from AZ. Yeah, because they're trying to prevent the vote to release the Epstein files. That's Mike Johnson doing what he was told to do. Obstruct. hmm Remember that Donald Trump is bombing Venezuela over oil. This is oil. Venezuela is Donald Trump's Iraq. It's not about drugs. The rise of America's young socialists. Hell yeah. Remember these three comedians: Shane Gillis, there's two more, I shared them. When is the 20th anniversary for the Rapture? Giorgio. Magic Mega Mike needs to do his fucking job. Yeah. Aw, here's R.J. May. I think we may have talked about this tubby turd. R.J. May is accused of trading hundreds of photos of children involved in sex acts. Faces up to 100 years in prison. This is the Republican Party. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Hundreds of images. That's an elected Republican. I don't want to ever hear that both sides shit ever the fuck again. What were we talking about, bro? Colombian President Gustavo Petro calls for moving of the UN headquarters after Donald. Meanwhile, the US dollar decreased by 11%. Right. Donald Trump rants on Truth Social and falsely blames the FBI for participating in the January 6 riots. So Donald Trump, who famously has evaded the clutches of the FBI his whole fucking life, right? Right? Is saying that the FBI was at January 6th and that was a bunch of feds that smeared shit on the Capitol walls inside the Capitol. And I just want to continue to point out that the only reason that man was allowed to run for president and become president is because he fucking committed an insurrection against himself. I'm going to keep saying it because this is the fucking timeline that we live in, and this really happened in real life. The president of the United States supported and funded an insurrection upon the US Capitol when he was still president for like 2 more weeks, man. You still had the job. It's still your fucking White House. You goddamn idiot. That's why he's not in prison. Is because how are you gonna punish someone for harikariing themselves, right? He lost. He wasn't named president. And the only reason he's president now is because he enlisted the help of Russia and Israel, and anyone else that would help him. Hmm? And it's coming out that like he didn't win. There's laws. Hmm? Yeah. Got to go clean up a down tree in your yard. Where was the National Guard, right? Yeah. So again, it wasn't so much an insurrection as it was a harikari, but stupid. It was self-immolation, but it tasted like piss and smelled like shit instead. You get what I'm saying? Like, the reason that Donald Trump's not in federal pound me in the ass prison is because he's an idiot. He literally shit on his own lawn. I mean, you're a dick, I guess. Now, if he hadn't been the president at the moment where he gathered a bunch of people and had them march on the fucking U.S. Capitol, it's an insurrection. Mm-hmm. It goes a lot worse for him. Yeah. Angie said, we need the results of Executive Order 13848 and Epstein files come out and the truth about CK and then next stop watching. Oh, yeah, you know what happens in September? Executive Order 13848. Did it sunset? To September 12th, 2025. Mm-hmm. Trying to see, because remember, Donald Trump signed this law. Governors giving farmers bailouts and using the drought as a reason all the money we lost. China's not buying our soybeans. I'm actually starting to lose hope in anyone being part of the government is actually going to do anything good. Yeah, I mean, like I said, when I saw Gavin Newsom trolling the president using a 29-year-old Latina girl, I was like, oh, we're fucked. The Democratic Party is fucked. There's no policy, there's no plan of action, there's no platform being developed. The Democrats do not have a plan. Their entire shtick is, hey, at least we're not Republicans. And the Republicans are, we're all a bunch of pedophiles and sex pests. Those are your options. We need a better option. We need people that see problems, solve problems, understand, right? And you have too many people that got into office and said, fuck it, I'm going to see how much money I can make instead because I can't write policy and I can't get laws passed because I'm not a lobbyist and I'm not a corporate shill. And it's just like, we could just do this better. Americans oppose Donald Trump's. Donald Trump's approval among Republicans hits double digits. Yeah. No, they're not even on the same fucking website, I don't think. I don't think Gavin Newsom's on. Uh, I don't think he's on there on True Social trolling Donald Trump. I think he's doing it on Twitter. I don't even think they're on the same site. You know what I mean? It's giving the illusion of hope. That's what I think. Same thing. You got to understand. Kamala Harris has said multiple occasions that like democracy's broken. Here's a BBC article about the Trump administration mocking autism over and over and over again. is fucking with autistic people. Leave them people alone. American Legion, AMVETS, Vietnam Veterans of America, and Mission Roll Call said on Saturday that the continuing resolution, which passed the House earlier this month, right, includes the Staff Sergeant Parker Gordon Fox Suicide Prevention Grant Program, the Healthcare for Homeless Veterans Program, and the Supportive Services for Veterans Families Program. Um, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries have each said they will not vote for the House passed short term spending measure. Okay. Remember, I'm saying it is reasonable for the Democrats to not want a government shutdown, to say, hey, this is what we could do. We could fund these programs. It doesn't hurt as many people, Don. You could definitely pass this. House already passed this. Senate passes it, and then the thing about it is, this is a fight for power, and as I've said, absolute power corrupts absolutely. The president does not have absolute power. Might dodge these hurricanes, I think. I wasn't going to say anything, Stace, but I kind of thought one would peter out and one would miss. Donald Trump hates Portland because Portland hates Donald Trump. That's just it. Remember, this accelerationist path we're on is aimed at killing and culling the disabled, the elderly, the weak, the poor. Anyone that they can't use as slave labor, they're gonna kill. Anyone who speaks out against them, they're gonna imprison them. And if they're able-bodied, make them do slave labor. Hmm? Yes. Yes. See, these people that voted for him 3 times are on Medicaid, SNAP, One of the reasons I got out, all right, I've never said this out loud, but one of the reasons that I got out of Medicare healthcare is that so many of the people that are on Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, that are fully reliant on all these government programs, that hate immigrants, that think everybody else is looking for a handout, that are MAGA, are reliant on these programs. It's stunning hypocrisy when you ask someone like, okay, well, how much money do you make a month, and they make less than $1,600, and you're like, okay, are you on Medicare? Yeah. Okay. Do you have Medicaid? Yes. Okay, that means you make less than like 1550 a month most places, and then you get food stamps, right? So these are people that literally have nothing, have Nothing. And as you're talking to them, you pick up little ticks that lets you know, oh, you voted for Donald Trump. And you got to think about the time frames post COVID. So this is after COVID. I'm talking, and again, it's not that I didn't help them the best I could and try to get them in the right healthcare plan and make sure their doctors and drugs are covered and put them in a better situation and never let someone hang up in a worse healthcare situation, right? Um, but one of the things that would frequently happen is the people that you would do business with who are MAGA, who managed to get through a whole conversation without pissing you off bad enough that you didn't want to help them, right? They'd cancel on you because they felt like you were a lib. What? So when you've had those conversations where somebody calls you that you did business with and they want to cancel, and they want to cancel because they found you on the internet and you're a fucking lib, and you're like, what? And when that happens enough, and then you realize, like, these are the same people that call other people uh, bottom feeders, and oh, they're just taken out of the system. They're taking handouts and shit. Are you on Medicaid? Yeah, you are taking a handout. Like, you're on Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP, and you're not 65. That's you. And they're white, cis people from not from any cities, always from some holler. It's like people who are invisible to themselves. They can't take stock for what they are, they do, right? Like, I'll never poo poo anyone taking a handout because I'm a disabled veteran. And people are like, Jared, that's not a handout, it's a benefit you earned. You still have to ask for help, they don't just give it to you. Now, mine's a lifetime award, and things like Medicare and Medicaid are annual awards. And since they're all about movies and they come to get my ass, I'm going out Braveheart style. I've decided I'm going out The Gray. Have you seen The Gray with Liam Neeson? Once more into the gray, into the fray. Sorry, it's called The Fray. You seen that movie? In the end, when he's cornered and he's all bloodied and he's wrapping his fists up because he's like fist fighting wolves and shit, and he takes pieces of glass and he tucks them in between his fingers and he's like praying like he's gonna die. Yeah, and these massive wolves like hound him and he's like going out swinging. Yeah, he's tucking the fucking glass between his knuckles and shit. Hell yeah. Make it real hard for people to become real pointy. hmm But yeah, so instead of teaching people like be violent all the time, which is what we teach people all the time, I try to tell people to like grow a garden, put up solar panels and shit. That's what that's what my plan is. You know, you gotta. Hey, I'll be real with you. Love Jessica Denson. She looks tired. Surprised they're not doing gladiator style fights in the ballroom. Listen, listen. Hey, hey, Gabby. I'll never be president, but if I were, event coordinator. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Yeah, they're gonna have a UFC fight. That's not any fun. UFC is fucking boring. You know why UFC is fucking boring? Because you can't use the full move set that you get taught in any of those martial arts. Yeah, let us know what's going on in Portland, buddy. Watch that video from Jessica Denson. Let's check the weather real quick. Get the fuck out of here. My wife and I are gonna go. Yo, Narda is such a dumb name for a storm. Narda. I'll say it. All right, all right. God damn it. Yeah, holy shit. Hey, the East. Hey, Florida. Hold on. Before everybody goes. If you live on the East Coast of fucking Florida, hey, hey, I hope, I hope that what I'm looking at, I hope they're right. I hope they're right. But you know what I know? That's a fucking right angle. And that's not what really happens in real life. They are downplaying the fuck out of this storm. But here's what I would say. If you live in Florida and the coast of Georgia and maybe the coast of South Carolina, near Cape Canaveral specifically, this is where it's gonna. Oh, wow. Yeah. Here's. Look. I get excited about big ass storms. Sorry. Look. And then we'll get out. We'll get out of here. We'll get out of here. I just wanted to show you this. Okay. Look at how big this storm is, yo. Look at that shit. Now, again, one thing I've talked about is like I don't know anything about weather, so I'm not like saying all that moisture off the eastern seaboards is gonna push inland. I don't fucking know that. I just work here, right? In the northwest part of the country, shit's on fire. There's a big storm system, pretty big storm system, a state long system in New Mexico, which is unusual. They're normally on fire, and there's a big flood warning in southeast New Mexico and West Texas. Other than that, have a great day. Realize that largely most of this is out of our control, and all we can really do is get 8 hours of sleep. Nine. Science says you need nine. Jacksonville's on the east side, yeah. So remember, Stacy, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a meteorologist. The thing that I notice that makes me go, that's a load of shit, dude, is they're saying a fucking storm is gonna go. Why? That doesn't make any sense. On what planet does a storm system going north make a fucking right angle turn? What? How does that work? Again, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm saying like in science that's not a 90-degree angle. That's not how that works. It's a less pronounced angle. And that's all I'm getting at. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a meteorologist. I don't even know how any of this shit works, but I can promise you this. Storms do not take hard 90-degree angle turns. Anybody that believes that, I have a lot of shit to sell you. Have a good day. But they can use the weather machine